Steve Erceg is going to be taking on Asu Almabayev on March 1st. Erceg lost his last fight via knockout to Kai Kara-France, and before that he lost to Pantoja in a title fight, which was a close and competitive fight. Two of the judges had it 2-2 going into the 5th round, but ultimately they gave it to Pantoja. Asu Almabayev has a 21-2 record. He's won 17 fights in a row, including winning 4 of his UFC fights, most recently over Mateusz Nicolau. Almabayev is actually one spot ahead of Erceg in the rankings, number 8 and 9 in the flyweight division. Those two and Alex Perez all dropped 1 spot to make room for Manal Kopp, who moved up 3 spots after his win a couple weeks ago over Bruno Silva. Kopp will be taking on number 1 ranked Brandon Royval next on March 1st. Number 2, Brandon Moreno beat number 3 Amir Albazi in his last fight. Number 4, Kai Kara-France could be getting the next title shot. And number 5, Tyra is coming off a loss to Royval. Themba Gorimbo no longer allows comments on his Instagram page. He recently talked about how his cousins in Africa were celebrating his loss to Vicente Luque. Some people empathize with Themba, but I guess some people empathize with his cousins and saw their point of view and were critical of Themba, and he wasn't trying to hear all that, so he doesn't allow comments on his Instagram page anymore. He doesn't want to feel the wrath of DDP. He's not looking to start crying to start off the new year, as everyone does when they start exchanging with DDP verbally. Their beef seems to have started when Dricus was saying before his fight with Adesanya that he wants to be the first African who resides in Africa to become the UFC champion. At the time, Themba said, "This topic is uncomfortable and so is the fight. It does nothing for Africa, actually, then divide. If the fight was going to do something for Africa, it would have taken place in Africa. Leaving Africa to train abroad is a must for all African athletes in MMA, which Dricus did himself before joining the UFC back even recently in Florida at Kill Cliff." Yes, I did. The longest I've been out of Africa is 6 weeks, you idiot. I'll knock you out or make you tap again if you ever try and shake my hand, you snake. Oh, and you're speaking to a world champ who didn't leave the continent. Hold up, Dricus. First of all, you're the snake, two-sided champ who talked to me inside the UFC PI bathrooms when you were alone, and then in front of your minions, you acted like you didn't know me because you're weak alone, strong with minions. When did you tell me you'd knock me out? You may scare other people, but not me. I was never scared to fight. You ask ESC. I took that fight 3 times. Matter of fact, I came back for you and you vacated the title. Wish you nothing but the best, but that being said, don't think you get it like that. You can beat me, bud. Let's see when we see each other in person. Themba Gorimbo is looking to get back in that cage ASAP. DDP will be getting back into that octagon next month against Sean Strickland in Sydney, Australia. February 8th, UFC 312 main event. Throwback picture of Khabib Nurmagomedov when he was 17 years old. He'll be cornering 3 fighters in a couple weeks at UFC 311, Jan 18th. Based on the odds, he's favored to go 3-0. It starts off with Tagir Ulanbekov, who's a minus 265 favorite against Clayton Carpenter. And in the main event, Islam Makhachev's over a 4-1 favorite to beat Arman Sarukian. And in the co-main event, Umar Nurmagomedov is over a 3-1 favorite to beat Merab. None of these are a lock by any means, though. Merab Dvalishvili's success in the sport has been impressive because if you look at the start of his career, he was 1-2. It didn't look like his career was going anywhere, and he thought the same thing. At the time, I was thinking, I lost here, Ring of Combat. I was 1-2. How am I going to make it to UFC? But I said, win or lose, I'll keep fighting. Maybe, hopefully, I could pick up my immigration papers, then fight in Russia. As long as they cover my flights, I could fight in China or Russia. I forgot about the UFC or Bellator. But then he would go on to win 6 fights in a row, make it to the UFC, lose his first 2 UFC fights, but then win 11 in a row. And here he is today, after beating O'Malley, the UFC champion. Regarding Darren Till versus Anthony Taylor, January 18th in Manchester, England. Anthony Taylor says, "Yo, Darren Till, I told Mams Taylor I wanted 8 rounds and nothing less. You know why? Because I wanted to go to war with you in your country. I'm willing to die in that ring and I'm willing to go the distance with everything I got. Come Jan 18th, this American will be victorious." And still, you didn't have to tell Mams you wanted 8 rounds, dummy. The fight was 8 rounds anyway. I wouldn't have fight if it was anything less. I think you seem confused on something here. You're not calling the shots. You're a replacement, so shut up and take your biggest payday fighting me. You got lucky with this opportunity. Taylor's replacing Tommy Fury and says, "Just for talking like that, I'm going to knock your ass out in the first round. You throw a kick, I'm going to take you down and choke you out." And Darren Till and Nathaniel Wood have a laugh. I remember this guy getting smashed around in Bellator. Taylor was a 145er and a 155er. Till was a 185er, so he'll have a size advantage, but he doesn't have as much pure boxing skill in a professional boxing setting. UFC featherweight slash bantamweight AJ Cunningham not happy with the New Year's Day incident where a pickup truck plowed into a crowd on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, resulting in at least 10 fatalities and injuring dozens. Following the collision, the driver exited the vehicle and opened fire on law enforcement officers who returned fire. Suspect pronounced dead at the scene. 2 officers sustained injuries and transported to a nearby hospital. Authorities identified the suspect as 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, a U.S. citizen from Texas. And Cunningham says, "When do we ride? The victims need to have a criminal background like fentanyl before we draw blood. At least 4 whites killed by a non-white. Could you imagine the news and outrage if it was the other way around?"
Killed or another American killed, and we don't do nothing about it. We're just like, well, since kindergarten through college, we were told about slavery and other bad stuff, so we don't want to act racist. We are being attacked from the inside, and you are cut with complete silence because of guilt, because of something that happened to people before they were born, before they existed. It drives me mad. It's like, man, can you imagine all the other foster kids and being like, have gone through real adversity in life, real trouble, and they don't get the crutch. They don't get that crutch. They don't constantly have people telling them, well, it's okay, you just come from a different background, you don't know better. It's utter madness. And to this Disney movie, Hallmark, ABC ideology where everybody can come together. Hey, they bring the mashed potatoes, you bring the green beans, I got the cornbread. We're all going to... Not everybody thinks the same. Not everybody has the same desires. Not everybody's a good person. And no matter how many Disney movies or ABC movies you make that portray it like that, it don't make a 4-finger fuck.
Cunningham was in Bryce Mitchell's corner for his recent victory over Crone Gracie. 2024 MMA finish rates by promotion. Cage Warriors came in first place with 65.9% of their fights ending in finish, and UFC was in last place with 44.8% of their fights ending in finish. Ahead of them is Octagon MMA, 6 percentage points higher than PFL 1, CFFC, LFA Ryzen, Brave, KSW, and number 1 is Cage Warriors. UFC definitely has some fights where there's a lot of finishes and it's exciting, but there are a ton of cards where it's decision after decision after decision, and Dana White made the decision to no longer up the bonuses really high because he got frustrated after UFC 304, which had a ton of decisions.
Outside of tonight, you know, every time you get on a press conference, the fighters manage to get you to up the bonuses. Do you think there's an argument that maybe you should just up them to...
I think tonight showed that we should not, no.
Oh.
Upping them doesn't change anything. It doesn't make anybody fight any harder. It doesn't change anything. I'm not doing this again.
Ever.
Today was the last day that I'm doing that. Yeah. I'm not saying that in the future the bonuses couldn't get up, but I'm not gonna be at a press conference and say 200, 300. Never again. Never again. So you can thank everybody on this card for that.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. Nobody fought any harder. There was no sense of urgency. Holy shit, I want the 100,000. 7 straight. Who gives a fuck? It's 7 o'clock in Vegas, so whatever. Yeah. Never again.
Okay, I lost.
7 straight decisions. Yeah. The 100,000 was a real big fuck. Woo-hoo. Let's get it, boys. Fuck that shit. Never again.
Okay.
And before you go, check out On It for top-tier supplements and fitness gear. Check my affiliate link in the description to support the channel and optimize your performance. Thanks for watching.